Lima, Peru is definitely not what I expected.
I came to Peru thinking that it wasn't gonna be as great as I had imagined for living, for lifestyle design, for living a high quality of life. If you're someone that's thinking of possibly potentially moving here or just traveling, but honestly, I was quite wrong. Lima, Peru offers such an amazing blend of the beaches, the mountains, hiking, outdoorsy stuff, metropolitan lifestyle, and come on, the food, in terms of everything that you can possibly add together into an eclectic mix of really great environment for you to get your stuff done and also have a really great time doing it. One of the biggest things for me personally is I like to try to find a city where I can have everything I need in terms of amenities, in terms of an Airbnb, a long-term stay, where it's still affordable, where I get the best bang for my buck in terms of cost of living, food that I'm having, and really ultimately the lifestyle that I have while here. And when I first got here, I was trying to figure myself out, I was trying to orient myself, and I was going to the grocery store, I was trying to talk to a lot of locals, I was trying to really experience what it feels like to actually be here. And what I found out was it's actually really great in terms of a location where you can stay for whether that's a week, 2 weeks, a couple of weeks, a month, or even a couple months, because the visa situation here, for at least for US citizens, is actually quite nice. You can get up to 90 days visa free upon entry into Peru, and depending on your situation, you get 183 days visa free when you come into Peru. And that's just magical because you can stay here for up to 6 months, and then you go to Colombia for up to 6 months, or even Mexico for up to 6 months for all my US citizens out there. And you can be a part of South America for basically an entire year without having to go back to the States or other places if you don't want to. Another thing over here is the weather. The weather is absolutely amazing. And from what I understand, it's like this all year round. It's basically in the 60s to 80s range all year round. And it's like technically a climate of a desert, but being Lima is right by the coast where you have all the amazing beaches, it's just out of this world. But anyways, the desert climate makes it very suitable because it's not too humid, but at the same time it's not too dry, and it still rains once in a while, but rain is very rare, so you're not gonna have the muggy days that you have in Bogota, which Bogota is one of my favorite cities to actually go get work done and live and be in a sense of a metropolitan city. But make sure to understand that Lima is a place for you to actually enjoy yourself, right? There's a lot of good nightlife, tons of cafes all around you with really good quality coffee that are sourced all throughout South America, even in Africa. And the cafe culture is here. You have actually a decent amount of digital nomads that are here, but it's not in the sense of that it's so touristy. But if you walk around, there are going to be a lot of tourists, especially in the Miraflores area and Barranco area. That kind of leads me into the food culture here is absolutely amazing. Like, come on, we're right next to the Pacific Ocean. We have amazing ceviche. We have really good sandwiches. We have putifara. We have really good desserts. I'm only here for a week, and I'm actually thinking about returning here for the future as making Lima a part of my rotation in terms of my bases in South America. And so one of the things that I look for in terms of lifestyle benefits is what you can afford here in a city that you're planning to actually think of moving to for work, for play, maybe a combination of both, is that the Peruvian sol compared to the US dollar is a lot weaker. And what you can actually afford here is quite nice. And you get a really good Airbnb apartment for a fraction of the price for what you would pay and maybe in like a big city like New York City or Los Angeles, even in Toronto. Here you can probably get a really good 1-bedroom or studio apartment for less than $800. If you were to, and we're talking about some of the best places or neighborhoods in Lima, which is Miraflores and Barranco, which is super safe, decently touristy, but you can also live a little bit probably further out as well.
This little Airbnb that I'm staying in is actually quite nice. And the great thing is the price. I got this whole entire studio bedroom with a kitchen, a couch, a workstation, cool little decoration designs.
But overall, for what you pay, $800 or less, especially if you're living here long-term, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you get like an actual contract, it's gonna drop even lower to like $500 or $600 for a really good 1-bedroom and maybe a 2-bedroom apartment. But if you're gonna be living right by the beach, which I saw some of those really good beach houses and apartments that are right next to the edge of the cliff of Miraflores, well, you're probably gonna pay a little bit more, but I can't imagine it being more than $1,500 a month. And some of you guys might be saying like, holy cow, like $1,500, but for someone that's coming from New York City where we were paying for $2,500, $3,500, $4,000 a month for a really tiny apartment in Manhattan, like it's a steal. So this is the side of like the mindset that you should be thinking about. It's like, how can I utilize my money in order to live a higher quality of life without sacrificing certain things, right? Because living in New York City, it's a great city, and I was born and raised in New York City, but the thought is you need money to really enjoy the finer things in New York City. And I think for most people, they can't really actually afford it, and that's why a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. And I know plenty of friends that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're living a really good lifestyle from the outside in New York City, but they're not saving a dime. They're not being able to save, they're not being able to invest, and it keeps them in the rat race and the rat wheel where they're basically constantly spending all their money trying to live this utopian lifestyle, but at the end of the day, they're actually drowning in credit card debt and not being able to afford anything really, and they're gonna be working the rest of their life. Or you can move to maybe, I would say, like a second-tier city where it has all the benefits, but if you have money, especially if you're bringing money from a different currency, you're actually living a really high quality of life for a fraction of the price, and that's how you gotta think outside the box. Another thing that is great about Lima are the beaches, and you have the Pacific Ocean right next to you in Lima, in Miraflores and Barranco, and a lot of people go out there every single day and you can watch the sunset. My God, that sunset is to die for. Probably one of my favorite things to do is just literally put out a lawn chair, sit there, sunset watch the people, and you could even go surfing. There are so many surf camps out here in Miraflores. You know, there's surfers and they're going out there, and the weather is actually pretty great because the waves are not too strong, but they're not too weak at the same time. So you have a good blend. So there are many great cities in the world, and maybe Lima is the right destination, maybe it's not. I personally still prefer Bogota, I would say, but I would definitely have to stay here in Lima a little bit longer to really experience it. I think I am going to return in the future to do Lima, because after doing some of these amazing day trips to Paracas and Huacachina, I definitely think there is a lot of potential of living and basing yourself in Lima, Peru as a destination and as a base for Latin America, especially with the flights to other areas. And you can also do Cusco, which I'm gonna try to do next time, as well as do Machu Picchu. But what do you think? What do you think about Lima in general? And if you've been here, definitely leave your thoughts and comments in the section below, because I read them. And as always, make sure to check out this next video here, and please make sure to like and subscribe because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching.